name is Jared, and it is August 16th, 2022. Happy Tuesday for everybody joining us, and welcome to another basically prep for the day. S&Ps did have a continuation off of the Friday close from last week. We saw a little bit more follow through into what appears to be our ultimate target for this upside move, coming to test our key resistance trend line and ultimately recovering significantly off the lows. You want to be thinking about how much the market has recovered at this point, just marking off high to low and the overall bounce of the market. We're certainly getting above 50% recovery and coming into about a 61.8 retracement off of this particular level. So very clear bullish control at the moment. Obviously looking for any sort of divergence or cracks in the system. But for now, the market seems relatively strong and healthy relative to some of the sectors that we're seeing perform. Give me just a second here. Make sure my laptop is good to go. Okay, so some key levels to consider. I've got these fib retracement marked off. I would say that they're not exact at this point. You'd want to anchor it to the absolute low. But if we're looking at a 61.8 retracement, we're looking at about a 435 S&P. And therefore, given we have a key retracement and a resistance level, market seems keen to at least test these levels and ultimately to set up a potential pullback in the market if we see rejection of any type. But for now, some guide as to when to stay on the right side of the market's trade and when to be looking for that potential trend change or divergence in our overall uptrend. Some things that are keeping me kind of level set on the market is if I go to an hourly chart and pull up the 20, 50, and 200-day simple moving averages, you'll notice that most of our key pullbacks, whether they were through price or through time, have actually coincided with the 200 period on the hourly. Therefore, you could argue that until we start to really break through this moving average, the overall structure of this uptrend is fairly intact. We don't have any issues with breaking trend or structure. And as you can see, we're actually riding some upper moving averages on the extension currently. So some early warning signs that we might see is one, if we get a move into those either retracement levels or the overall trend line resistance, we see the market stall or possibly put up a very, I would say, convincing topping type structure. And then from there, we actually start to lose something as simple as the 50 period on the hourly. And the reason I want to call out the 50 is not necessarily because it's the golden moving average to be watching, but more so that if you're looking for good risk to reward, even if the market were to retrace back to the 200, we'd be looking at about a 420 S&P, which is ideal as a short-term pullback type of trade, but you'd obviously need to have a decent entry somewhere closer to the 430 area for that risk to reward to make sense. So for now, obviously, we'll be looking for any stall, any potential risk to our current uptrend. And there's a few things that you might want to consider watching for just clarity in this analysis. For one, obviously having multiple indices on your chart, something like the NASDAQ, which has been leading the rally significantly from the lows. Looking just low to high here, we're talking about the NASDAQ gaining about 23%. So a lot of discussion about the overall average size of a NASDAQ bear market rally. You'll note key individuals like Michael Burry has been discussing this in depth and actually making some adjustments to key holdings in their assets based on this analysis. So obviously there are still some bearish sentiment plays out there, and ultimately, this is a very strong rally off the lows. It has that feel of if the market were to never retest that low, it's obviously one of those investable buying potential opportunities. But for now, as trading mindset, we are looking at a bit of overextension simply because of the size of the move. Something like the NASDAQ does have a bit of clarity in regards to a channel. You could argue that we are breaking out of the channel, so you want to be careful shorting anything that has continuation momentum. But the market is showcasing how this channel has been one of the key drivers of high to low transitions. And it's offering a lot of clarity on something like the weekly. Remember, not everything is exactly precise here, but you are anchoring towards some relative swing highs and lows after the market changed trends. So whenever the trend broke, we did have this bearish channel form. And if you're anchoring to those levels, you should see a lot of relative trade. What it gives you is a sense of when the market is oversold, overbought, and also when the risk is perpetuating. In this case, because we're seeing a little bit of a breach of the upper channel, there's obviously a lot of pressure on any bearish positions in the market, even ones that may have stepped in a bit early into this channel test. And ultimately that will provide that final leg of momentum and possibly something that goes a bit parabolic. You want to be thinking overextensions tend to end when the last round of buyers are exhausted. And that's when you actually see the top of those moves. So it really does depend on how far the buyers want to take this, and we should see a signal when they're starting to exhaust. So we'll keep that in mind. The NASDAQ is providing the fuel for this fire. What are some divergences we could be looking at? One that I like to kind of keep on watch is what is risk on corporate debt doing. Similar to the overall S&P, this is in a recovery move. We're seeing a range breakout off of the lows. And I speak about how range breakouts can be treated quite simply. You simply double the overall range, and that's going to be your first relative target. We've achieved that target, and we're continuing much higher. So at that point, you'd probably be looking at things like fib extensions. And similar to what we did with the retracement on the S&P, the high yield corporate debt ETF, HYG, is actually hitting 261 extension, at least from our range low. So these levels are what I like to call projected resistances. They're often going to be driven by market, not necessarily dynamics, but often a lot of repeatable structure and pattern. And this is often where risk in the market can become accelerated. You want to be thinking, if you're a participant in the market and you're looking to go long or short, you can often have key inflection levels based around when those positions are getting tested. And usually it's not going to be immediately when you get breakouts. It's actually going to be much further. You want to be thinking, if someone's underwater about 100% of the move that they were trying to target, that's when the pressure really puts on that position. You get a lot of continuation up there because people are stopping out, whether they be short or long. And ultimately, there are signals before that happens, but people will still try to sort of anticipate pulls back in, or basically just manage that position as it's rallying against them. This is something that was key in a lot of these breakouts that we're seeing. Something like an IWM, very strong recovery rally. It might be defying a little bit of expectation, but ultimately price action is going to be our guide here. And similar to the NASDAQ, this is a 24% recovery off of our lows coming into the key 200-day moving average, but still seeing, additional follow through. We haven't really seen the top end of that price action yet. So you want to be aware of similar reactionary highs, retracement levels, and ultimately this one is coming out of a resistance point. So you could argue that this one has already broken out, because if I anchor to a sell swing, the market has stayed underneath this sort of higher supply, lower demand line for an extended period of time, ever since the top was placed back in 2021. So take off some of these historical levels just to kind of get that clarity there. So it just showcases that there's a repetition to the market. There's often going to be buy and sell swings that follow similar patterns, have similar extensions. Usually the overall structure remains consistent for periods of time until it changes. And that's usually, the change is one of the more powerful moves, because it catches some participants by surprise. It has new participation, new money entering the market. And ultimately, all of those forces in one direction will drive trade. So just wanted to call that out. When it comes to HYG, however, just kind of circling back, market was rising yesterday. It was basically continuing. We weren't seeing a strong bullish move in HYG. This is more of a just a longer period indicator. We're not obviously seeing any issues with this current uptrend, but it showcases that the market did rally yesterday in less of a risk on move. Most of our extensions in the S&P have actually been facilitated by either gap ups in HYG or the actual breakout, which occurred a couple of weeks ago. Thought I had my Epic pen here, but this right here really started this move. And just like the S&P, some of the pullbacks here coincide with S&P pullbacks. So similar to what we're doing with the S&P, you could say that so long as we're holding trend in high yield corporate debt, the S&P has a very strong case to continue this move. If we see some divergence here, or just a lack of participation, a pullback is probably very likely, and the size of that pullback will obviously be dictated by the sort of participation and volume we get on the trend break. So those are some key characteristics to be watching, all of which is in the face of a weekly higher high. So obviously the market has cleared the weekly pivot. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. And clearing that pivot simply means that we're no longer in a weekly downtrend. Doesn't mean we're in a weekly uptrend quite yet. You could argue this is a higher low, but we technically didn't break a pivot at that point in time. So, whether you're using this as an anchorable higher low, or you're just indicating that we're no longer in a downtrend, both of those statements technically are true. So, a couple of key things for today. We have earnings, and we are looking at a week of heavy retail and cyclical involvement. For today, the two key names to watch are Walmart, WMT, and Home Depot, HD, both of which reported before market open. Keep in mind, these are not both considered consumer staples. Walmart is. Home Depot is technically a consumer discretionary name, and we'll look at the allocation of that in just a moment. But for the rest of the week, as we'll kind of continue this discussion, we're going to be getting more of these similar names. You want to be noting for tomorrow, stocks like Lowe's, Target, TJX, and I think I saw one more, maybe not. So tomorrow, those three kind of key names that you want to be keeping an eye on. A lot of market participation groups those names very similarly. You want to be thinking a Target versus a Walmart. And what's so interesting is they're actually not in the same sector. So it's similar business models, obviously a little bit of different market cap allocation and relative weighting. And then I believe on Thursday, something like Ross Stores would be another one to watch. These are all sort of your consumer retail, clothing, a little bit of food, and overall just staple type products. So for these names, though, for Walmart, we can take a look at the overall reaction. Walmart was closing yesterday at about 132. And we'll look at the expected move for the option market this week. About a 132.50 close. We're looking at 138 approximately for the current time frame. For Walmart, the expected move was looking to be about 6.3. If you're pricing out and out at the money straddle, this is our normal option market technique for earnings. Expected move for this stock about 625. We'll just call it 6.25. And when you look at how far it moved, we're pretty much in line with the expected move at this point in time. We're pretty much right on it. What this means is it can be a candidate for continuation. So long as we're able to sort of break out of this range, then ultimately the stock is set up to be bullish. Of course, as far as technicals go, what are some issues with the stock? Well, for one, you want to be thinking about what Walmart had endured recently. We saw a significant drop on its previous earnings. This was mostly due to a lot of oversupply in its inventory, and overall the market's reaction to that was net bearish. Seeing a lot of inventory with any of these retailers means they may have to sell it at net loss or just overall mark things down over time, depending on how perishable those items are. And this key level is also a technical gap. It's obviously an earnings gap, so it's a very powerful move, big change in overall sentiment, and it left a lot of people trapped in Walmart positions. So this is also the idea behind these gaps is there was a lot of participation in Walmart prior to this gap. You could argue that the low end of support was established back in about September of 2020. You look at how much trade has occurred over a couple of years, and then you see a gap down. We're coming into new price levels and ranges that we've been trading in for a couple of months. In order for the market to reclaim these upper levels, it's going to take a lot of volume. So as an intraday trader, you want to be aware of what you're about to run into. If you're looking long, it's fine so long as the move and volume facilitates it. If we do not push higher, be careful of fading activity. This is simply where people who were holding Walmart for a couple of years saw the gap down, maybe didn't sell, decided to either average in or just hold their position. They may use this opportunity to sell into the gap up. And this is very key for technical trading because the longer this range has been established, the higher the volume profile tends to be and the harder it is to get back inside of it. It takes a lot of work and energy. It often takes a catalyst. And that's why it's not necessarily an all out A+ breakout on Walmart. It actually has a little bit of technical issue in regards to a gap, which is not meant to be filled. It's an earnings gap. And it's also running into a high volume shelf on the volume profile. These are two key things that you don't necessarily want to fight if the market rejects them and pushes back inside. So keep all that in mind. If you're looking at just short-term trade, I would argue that there are two volume nodes or open interest nodes on Walmart at about 140 and 130, both on the call side of the option market. You can see that they're actually sized approximately the same at about 13,000 open interest. So these would be some good price levels to target, but you obviously need the directional bias. And because we're opening at about 138, you could imagine the scenario where we maybe push into 140, get clear sort of topping or rejection price activity, and then spend the rest of the day either pulling away from it or transacting it for a period of time and then moving away. Because if we can't really clear 140, there's not too much upside on the stock, at least in the option market series. There's not another high open interest node to trade against. Let's quickly go to Home Depot. This one closed at about 315. About a $15 or $16 expected move. You want to be pricing out a 315 straddle given the close price. We're looking at approximately 15 debit. So this is definitely in line with the platform's expected move. Look at where we're opening today. About 312 if we stay within these price levels. And what I'm noting here is that really Home Depot didn't move a ton. We saw volatility, obviously highs and lows on the reaction itself. And Home Depot's earnings were slightly above expectation, but there's still a lot of inflationary pressure in some of their forecasting. What this market is showing here, at least for now, is no real bias. We're kind of still near previous day close. You'll often note that whenever you don't have a large open interest participation, the market actually can come back into these closure or settlement price levels and not move. Really there's no, I would say, clear direction. And with Home Depot, staying within its expected bounds, there's really not a major price level here except for approximately 310. So downside here to about 310, that's going to be standing out on the call side of the market. So it's a little bit odd, kind of targeting an in the money open interest instead of an out of the money. Those are more or less just going to be people looking to maybe hedge a little bit and maybe play a little bit of bullish momentum if the market were to provide it. But you're also not seeing anything at a key level, which is 300. That's your expected move range if the stock closed at 315, and yet only about 5,000 open interest on both the call and put side. You compare that to 310, call and put side is going to be sitting at about 9,000 open interest. So significant size differentiation there. Argument here is that really there's no clear bias on the option side. I would say this one has a little bit of a lean to the downside, but as we're sitting at 312, targeting 310 is a very short-term move that could easily be achieved in the first minute of trade. So you want to be careful with this one, just kind of reading too much into short-term signals. I definitely prefer this one to be in a clear directional trend and just let that trade maybe kind of marinate throughout the day. Ideally, fading or seeing a slight bullish drift with the rest of the market. Let's see, the 340 block is too far out to consider. 340 does stand out as a little bit of a higher interest. It's outside of expected move. The reason I don't like to target that unless we get some volume today is the market would have to rally an additional call it 27 points from this current price. And what that means is instead of this product moving after earnings, we're now expecting all participation to come in today for that 340. This is something that could be achieved end of week. I don't think it's a great intraday target for now. We would need to see clear momentum today. And then of course, if you're carrying like a swing position, that would be something to target maybe by end of Friday. But getting past the expected move bounds would be a bit of a challenge. You're thinking about trying to clear 330 based on the option market close. So good point. Just be careful with it as an intraday target. I believe Home Depot's ATR is approximately, let's see what we got here. It's about $6. So earnings, we could double it. Doubling it is still 12. So 312, 12 to 15 points at a maximum, unless there's a massive rally into HD, that would still bring you to about 330 intraday. And if you want to carry it for a swing, that would obviously be based on your risk profile. So just also wanted to highlight here the differentiation between a Walmart and a Home Depot, just for clarity, since I mentioned it earlier. Walmart has, well, I got my Epic pen. Walmart is a true consumer staple stock. It is the top 5 holding inside of your XLP ETF, which is your consumer staple ETF. However, being top 5, it actually is half of the overall weighting compared to stocks like Costco, Pepsi, and Coca-Cola. So it's interesting. This is one of the largest disparities in terms of some of the top holdings relative to lower holdings. There's going to be a lot of that in things like tech and also consumer discretionaries, but not every sector has massive, I'll call them conglomerates, or just the leaders of their particular sector. Staples is one to be focusing on, maybe your top 5, but keep in mind Walmart is still half of something like a Costco. So there are some stocks that just have more volatility and therefore can move a sector very quickly just due to the fact it moves more frequently. You also have some stocks that just carry more weight. So they might not move as fast, but the fact that they're so large, it actually matters for the overall sector. This is more for if you're trading sector ETFs or if you're using them on any sort of position. Know which ones are coming into their earnings and know the impact of those stocks. You compare that to XLY, which is our consumer cyclical or discretionary names. And to call this out again, if you're trading these, you definitely want to pay attention to Amazon and Tesla. They're the 2 top holdings. They represent about 45% of the entire ETF. But if you wanted to track a third stock, your total 50% would come in with HD. So if you're looking at maybe the top 50% of market cap, these 3 stocks represent it. And therefore, HD is still an important name for something like consumer cyclicals. It's just not the same weight as the top 2. And it's actually double the weight, similar to Costco, Coke, and Pepsi, compared to the next holding, which would be McDonald's. So it showcases that market cap matters in these sector performances. And really, there's going to be some major names that will drive trade. You'll also see a lot of sympathy and just net capital flow coming in and out based on how these stocks move. So I believe that's it for today. Overall, it should be a fairly straightforward day if you're trading earnings. Otherwise, I'd watch the S&Ps for some clarity, especially as we're getting into those upper targets. Stay tuned for pre-market prep as always. Tomorrow, we'll be looking a little bit more at some of the previous bear market correlations and what some experienced investors are saying is the beginning of another major sell swing in the market. So stay tuned and we'll talk more then.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today? Welcome back.
Good morning, brother. I am doing well. I'm doing better than Jared, who appears to have been abducted by terrorists and producing hostage videos.
It is. I was saying it's a combination of the black shirt with
It's the plain gray
with the gray.
background with the little
Yeah,
map up in the
but in the
corner,
map.
and then the plain black shirt.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it just it was like the perfect combo. I sat down. I was like, "Holy shit! He looks like it's a terrorist video."
Jared, it's not a good time to get kidnapped. I mean, things are things are expensive.
Oh boy.
Okay, all right, guys. So again, just having a little fun, guys. All right, let's get to it here. Our gappers list this morning. A couple of things on here. You got to. I was looking through the gappers gapping down list. So a couple of names we've seen in the past year: BBBY, V, which is active. I think it was 2 days ago, or yesterday as well, and some other ones. And then the gap up. We got some names that are not too great, but we will obviously go through these and see what we got going on. And for those that missed it, Norm just shared the picture. It's gonna be a good one. See, we got to add this to the collection of BBT mob pictures. There it is, my friend. Now he look like he's just posting sideways, like he's taking a picture. I think it's a good
I was trying to
screenshot.
get one where he was looking up and like to the side, like he's checking on if he's saying correctly what he's supposed to be saying, but I
Well,
couldn't get it. He never did it, but I can go to YouTube and grab one, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
or looking down. When he was looking down, like he was reading off a
Yeah,
paper.
yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, Jerry's saying I'll need to get a better shirt next time. Yeah, I guess get like a beach shirt with some palm trees. I think it'll change the look completely. All right, guys, let's let's get to it. So, let's go right to our market post. I know Jerry went through a lot. He's especially focusing on Home Depot and Walmart. He kind of broke those down because they do have earnings this morning. They released already. So let's take a look at the rest of the market and what's going on there.
Yeah. As we get into the tail end of earnings, we start to get into retail, and that's what we're seeing right now. Obviously, Walmart, Walmart, Home Depot. Home Depot's been bouncing back and forth, I believe, between red and green this morning. So we'll see how it goes. All right. 8:30, we've got building permits and housing starts. 9:15, industrial production and capacity utilization. We shall see how those go. I mean, like Jared said, I think we're in for a pretty normal market today. I think the retail, usually we can find a good trader or two in there, so shouldn't have any shouldn't have any big surprises that I'm aware of.
I agree 100%. I'm I'm gonna have to block the chat, man. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. We're putting
Having too
pictures of
much fun today.
Jared in different poses. Now he's looking like he's looking directly at the camera. Oh man, I'm not gonna look to this monitor over here.
Yeah, the
Uh,
one Peter got's pretty good.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's take a quick look at what happened yesterday. And if you, it kind of felt like the same thing across the board. We'll look at BBBY to start here, and a lot of chop for me at least. There was a lot of chop early on. Things got better later in the day, and you had a couple of things that ran earlier than others. Here's BBBY, big drop here. The issue with BBBY, many times we do not have shares for short. I see some now, but I don't recall having shares for short yesterday on this thing. So.
Yeah, when it's highly volatile like that, a lot of times the brokers will just turn it off to
Yeah,
protect themselves from people incurring losses larger than they can. So, not
yeah,
surprising.
not surprising, and that has been happening a lot more after the AMC GameStop
Oh yeah,
situation. If you
yeah,
guys remember
for
that,
sure.
it's a lot more used at that tactic. And even here, if you look at the Dash or IB with Dash Trader Pro, you only have about 300,000, which is not a lot for BBBY. It's not a big number. That can be gone pretty fast. So that's BBBY there. Again, pretty choppy at the open, then got going. Oxy was beautiful short and then became an amazing long breakout. A couple of strategies here, high of day breakout, pre-market level breakouts, and you can see how well that traded. And we knew Oxy was going to be good yesterday because at pre-market, you had a little bit of volume. It was gapping down as well. So it just looked very good for a possible opportunity, and it turned out pretty nice there. Apple, you're going to see Apple, AMD, and some other ones, Netflix that we had on here do this here where they just were a little bit choppy at the open at first, and then got this beautiful breakout around 11:30 or so. AMD, I don't think they, yeah, they never actually, they were not great yesterday. They did get a little bit of chop here. You could have scalped these, by the way. If you're scalping in and out quickly, you can get some opportunities. But for the most part, if you trade the way I trade, this here will just kill you. It's just there's nothing happening there for me. Plug was nasty at the open. Got better again at 11:30. 11:30 seemed to be where the stocks got going around that time frame there. And then I didn't really look at it. Didn't like the way it was setting up. And this was more of a possible. We put it on here because it had a great drop and a good pre-market activity, but didn't really trade all that well. I'll tell you one that traded very good, and I wasn't looking at was BP. BP actually, again, once in a while the stock does something, and yesterday it did just that. Traded very well here out of the high of day breakout and got a nice continuation. It does this nastiness here where it just drops volume, but for the most part, not a bad trade compared to how this stock normally trades. And obviously, we had Tesla on deck again. Initial pop, and then just look at this sideways action. And again, around 11:30 you got going a little bit, kind of got some direction on a lot of these tickers we were watching yesterday. So that was the day yesterday. Let's get to this morning's action. I'm going to go ahead and Control A, Control A, Control X. We'll remove these. And let's take the two elephants in the room, which is going to be Walmart and Home Depot. Again, Jared really broke these down yesterday. Let's look at Home Depot. I'm sorry, Walmart first. I usually don't watch Walmart, but today they look kind of interesting. This morning. They got a nice big pop here, 4.1. Obviously, crushing earnings this morning. Norm looks like 2.6 million shares.
Yeah, they got crushed pretty hard a while back. Their last earnings, they just had a terrible quarter. You can see where it fell off in May there. Essentially, they came in, and I think the biggest part of their earnings, they beat top and bottom lines. I think the most important thing was they gave pretty terrible guidance previously, and their refreshed guidance this morning is that it won't be quite as bad as they thought it would be. So take that however you like it. We'll see how it trades today. I agree. I'm not a big fan of Walmart and trading Walmart, but this is one day where it might actually be better than it usually is.
Yeah, fully agree with that. So we'll add Walmart to our list today. Let's put it here, WMT. And let's look at Home Depot. It's not showing up on our gappers list yet because as Norm mentioned, it's bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, it's bounced back and forth. I'm not sure when the IR call is. I will look that up real quick. That might have a bearing. Things might trade a little bit better. As of right now, I don't see anything special here. Give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
Their conference call is at 9 a.m. Eastern. So here in about 20 minutes, that might start to move things. So maybe something to take a look at as we close the show out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to add them as a possible for now because they're not looking great, and I think Walmart's going to be much better.
If you were to trade Home Depot at the open, I would imagine that conference call would go beyond 30 minutes. It'll probably be in the Q&A section where analysts will be asking the CEO, CFO questions. I would be very careful in a trade because depending on how I've sat and listened to many a conference call in my years. And if they say something that isn't perfect, it can change things drastically. Or if they say something positive and you're in a short, it could go against you quickly. So just know that the conference call may be going on past the open and might make it a little weird for a bit. So.
And that's where things get interesting when they do the Q&A because those answers might not be scripted, and that's where you could use the wrong word and forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. The rest of it's pretty scripted generally.
Yep. Let's see what we have on our gap up list. Starting with TGL this morning. They popped up pretty nice this morning here. Up 25% right now. Oh, this is the one that IPO not so long ago. Shot up to 19, right? 19, 20 something there. And then came back down. So, I'm not sure about this.
This is a very small float. I don't know exactly what it is, but their entire IPO was very, very small. So I would be very careful here. This could move like crazy.
Yeah. They have obviously some news this morning. Looks to be positive or just volume pushing through here, but just be careful in this one. I don't see as a great low flow yet. It has the volume, has the pop, but it's dying down here. So I don't like this unless they can find some kind of support. It will make it a good low flow stock. We'll put it on here It's not ready yet. We'll come back and reassess that in a second. Meg L, typically not the best trader. Another one that IPO not so long ago, and you can see here just took off and then right back down to where it started. So
same story here.
Yeah, look at this thing, 246 back down to $20. Who's buying up here? Who is buying up here? Oh, not us. I know that we're too smart. We're traders to be buying up there. But man, that is scary. Today, guys, this is so risky. I don't even know how you manage your risk on something like this. Like, I'm not even going to add this to my list. It's just
Brian's holding some of that overnight.
Oh my goodness, is he really?
Yeah, I was in my office yesterday working on some stuff in and around the close, and he had traded it in the craziness and did pretty well with it, and then held a piece overnight. I'm like, wow, dude, I could not sleep.
Man. Of steel, my friend, of steel, because I will not hold on to this overnight. But yeah, Meg here, guys. Again, level of experience. Brian's a very, very experienced trader. He's been doing this for years. Be very careful, very, very careful. I won't add this to my list. This is way over my head.
I doubt it was a very big size that he held either.
Yeah, I'm sure he did some good risk management there. Here's Ali, by the way, guys. Ali not looking too hot right now. Up 6.5, very low volume. Nothing to see here yet. Heading on down to Walmart, we discussed already. Let's look at Snap.
Buffett is taking a large share in Ally. That's what's causing that one.
It's causing that move there. Okay. Nothing too exciting pre-market yet, but we'll see if that changes. You know, Warren Buffett can make things move, obviously, but that one not moving so great right now. It's also not a great intraday trading stock though, because I think we had this in our list before. Very light on the volume for the most part, so not doing all that much at the moment. Here is Snap. All right, we got some action on Snap. Almost 1 million shares traded so far. They're up 2%. Any news, Norm, worth keeping this on our list this morning?
Yes, they've topped 1 million premium paying subscribers.
All right, that's good news for them. Again, could look a little better, but you know what? They have not had great times here. I'm going to put them as a possible for now. We'll come back to them, but we'll see. 1 million shares, not bad pre-market. This thing can actually get going at the market open. And after the big gap down that we had not so long ago, this was probably about a month ago. So, all right, head over to our gap down list. Let's look at SE. It's, again, horrible trading stock. We've seen this plenty of times on our list. I'm not a big fan. Let's move on down to BBBY, which I believe it is in play again today, guys. 3.9, down 3.9, 2.6 million shares traded. I'm going to add this to our list here, BBBY. A little bit of shares for sure, not a whole lot. But again, this thing manages to get going and has ran up pretty well over the last couple of days here. Zoom, is this Zoom? Yeah, Zoom. Again, just not a great intraday trading stock. Earnings for them, or no? We would have saw that.
No, they have earnings on the 22nd. They got a downgrade out of Citi this morning to a sell rating.
Yeah. So there's Zoom, guys. Again, I'm not a big fan of this stock and the way it trades. So very light volume. Snow is another one that doesn't move very well. They're down 3.8 today. A little bit on the light on the volume, 183,000, which is not bad. They don't trade a whole lot. They trade 5 million about per day. So, but again, another one that's a rough intraday trading ticker. And the spread could be shady at times. V here, V was our top of our list. Now kind of moving up a little bit here on top of our gap down list. Down 3.7, 239,000. Again, this thing, I don't recall what was the news on this one. I remember it was something positive, and then I forgot what it was. But again, looking good here, guys, so far as the daily. But the pre-market, it just needs more volume. And I don't know if I can trust a 2.3 million share stock the third day after it's been up here. You know?
Carlos, check the chat.
Oh, my goodness. This is great. We're going to have the orange shirt. Who did this, man? Jared.
John.
We love you, brother. This is some good action here, man. Oh man, this is great.
John gets all the credit on that. That is fantastic.
Oh, John, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Oh yes, we love Jared. All right, guys, let's where we left off. Lee. It's not even Friday, it's only Tuesday. We're
I
in good shape
know.
for this week. LI this morning. They were actually pretty good yesterday. Let me see. If yeah, I think yeah they were pretty good yesterday. I had them on my secondary list. I didn't trade them, but they had a really nice run here. They did not wait until like 11:30 to get going. They got going pretty early and ran pretty nice there. This morning the volume is a little bit lighter, 200,000. But the pre-market action itself, the price action itself, looking still rather interesting. Daily, not so much. This daily here is just all over the place, not really exciting. This is a very, very weak possible. And given the list that we have today, we have room to look at this at the moment. So that might change. Hopefully it does. But again, guys, remember, we're continuing on to the summer trading where things are this week are going to, I don't want to look to what you guys are posting, where things are going to be, a little bit more, I don't want to say fragile, but light on volume. There we go. Light on volume. So just keep that in mind. And we saw some of that yesterday. Very choppy open. And finally, at 11:30, things got going. All right, let's see what you guys like. Norm, anything you like on your end so far?
No, I'm still
It's I
looking.
know it's
It's
one
kind
of
of
those
it's
days.
kind of a
Yeah,
quiet morning.
it
I'm
is.
a
It
little bit.
really is.
I'm still trying to get in the. Thank you, by the way, to Peter for covering me yesterday. It was the first day of school.
Yeah, yeah.
And I am so walked him in and all that stuff, but dropped him
Nice,
off. I'm
nice.
just trying to get back in the routine, man. I'm a little bit out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you, my brother. I hear you. Let's take a look at some of the stuff from our chat here. Starting with Ben. Ben, you're giving us Amazon's daily looks good, I assume. Let's take a look there. Yeah, yeah, I do like Amazon's daily. Very nice area of resistance right over here. So that's a good possible breakout. Um, I gotta stop reading the comments. Amazon is good. I like that one. Daily looks very good. Possible breakout on that one. AMZN. There we go. 930,000. Good volume. What's in the red and the green now? So that is nice. I see a lot of you guys throwing out FRZA on both chats, YouTube and also Frederick on YouTube, and our friends over here, Glizzy Gladiator as well, and some other ones too. What we have going on here? Up 50%, 5.8 million shares traded. Let's get the flow on this thing. What is the flow? FRZA, 2.1. Ooh. Also, recent IPO. These recent IPOs, man, they're just wild. I don't remember them being so crazy when they opened up in the past, but now it's like every IPO, everybody's just jumping in for no reason, or reasons, but that just doesn't make sense sometimes. So this one here, it is up today 50%. Yeah, it's in play. It's in play based on volume and not really anything else. I mean, I don't know what the news even is besides it IPOing. But I'm gonna add it on here.
They
Uh,
make electric boats.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. I mean, I know things are looking good,
They're,
so maybe I don't know, but yeah. So we'll put them
uh,
on here, guys. Up 50%. We'll see what happens. Just not a lot of data to go by. Very, very careful. Meme stock. It's just IPO'd. How could it be a meme stock, right? But you never know. You never know. Heading on down. SE. David from Connecticut on earnings.
it's a weird looking boat. I'm sorry.
Oh, you looked up the boat? Oh, it's an
Oh
actual. Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay. So they
Here you
don't make
go.
like a part of it. Yeah, send the link. Let's see what they got. We got time today. Compared, looking at this list, we can fool around a little bit here. Let's see what
It looks like a clown car for the water. I'm sorry.
it looks like a Tesla. What's a Tesla car?
No, I have not been smoking weed this morning,
Man,
guys.
what is this?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
that is a first. Looks like the Batmobile from this angle here. It looks like Batman. So if you're at a plane, you look down. It's not Batman on the water, it's just floating.
Batman. I don't know. I think that looks like a clown car for the water myself, but
Oh man, this is
it's by. It
can you
reminds me.
imagine? You imagine being on
You,
your cove and somebody shows up with this?
I
I
can't even
mean,
imagine how much it cost either. It's probably 300 grand.
I mean, wow.
Oh, it's
Someone will
okay.
buy it, I guarantee you. Uh, all right, here it is, SE guys. I'm not a fan of SE. David from Connecticut. I mean, we know that, right? It's a stock that doesn't trade very well. It's funky. I have never traded it. The few times I looked at it, it's just weird. So, I'm not sure. They have anything going on today? Any news, David? I forgot to see the rest of your comment. Oh, on earnings. Okay, yeah, earnings this morning. Okay, maybe today could do something. If it's on earnings. Again, just the way it trades could be a little weird at times, so we'll have to see. All right, let's head on down. What else do we have, guys? Mara from Ross D, our friend Ross D here. Let's take a look. Mara, starting to move here. The last couple of minutes, I'm getting a little bit of a drop. It's down 1.2. Could be interesting. Could be interesting.
I know you
today.
don't like SE, but I'm going to concur with David. I think it could be a good day.
Yeah,
SE
yeah.
is a shipping company. They have been in high demand, and especially with supply chain issues and everything else, consumer spending slowing down, inflation, less products need to be shipped. They could have an interesting day. Be careful with it because it can trade wildly.
Yeah, yeah. All right, that could be interesting. I'll put it as a possible for those that do like this one. I personally, I'll keep a close eye on it. I'm not a big fan, but like you said, today, like today, it might be interesting. No, you don't like the red one? You don't like the one in red? It's not your style.
No. I don't want to go in that.
You didn't want to even look at that.
Plus, I thought I saw the charge time was like up to 3 hours. I was like, that's
oh,
nothing.
this is all electric. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
You can't make it that stupid looking and it be gas.
that's true too. Yeah, 3 to 5 hours.
I swear,
full
I can't.
charge, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot for a boat. I don't know.
Yeah. Guys, that is FRZA. If you're wondering, they're up 50% today, and they have a funny looking boat. All right, what else, guys? What else you guys
you're
like?
right. Hamish, I guess I did smoke this morning. You're right. I was thinking of something
Yeah.
else.
What
C
happened?
Limited is a gaming deal. You're right, guys. I apologize. He demoted me.
Nice.
I'm telling you, man. I'm out of it.
All good, my friend. All good. Let's look at Macy's. Volume is extremely light unless they have something going on. I usually don't look at Macy's unless there's no charge points in the ocean. Agree, Phil, with it. Charging an electric boat in the ocean. That's great. Yeah, no news on Macy's, right? Their volume is very light right now, so I'm not sure if this is a good one yet, Mo. I see that they're gapping up 1.7, but again, it's not a great trade unless they have really, really high value, which this is not it at the moment. Also, nicey stock. If they're going to be active, you got to look at after the market open. You might get something then, but right now looking pretty light. Cause unless you're watching paint dry, don't look at M. No, yeah, M is not looking great right now. Maybe you're thinking C. Okay, that's something else. Thanks, Jonathan. Okay, excellent. Let's look over on YouTube. Did I miss anything? Cryptic Wealth DNA. DNA, is that a ticker? It is. And this is what is this? Ginkgo Bioworks. Okay, so maybe might be a biotech company, which would make sense. They are up 21%, 2.9. These lower price stocks, the biotech companies are funky. What's the float on this, by the way? DNA. It's
not small.
Not small, yeah. So it's even worse because when you have these lower price stock with such a large float, they don't trade very well. Their price action is very funky. Unless they have some really good news and they're really going to get going today, right? I don't know what their news is. They're up 21%, but I'd rather take my chances with something that I'm used to trading. I'm not used to trading a stock like this at this price. So even if they have great news, it's still not my target as far as what I look to trade. Speaking of target, someone's mentioning target. What's target's ticker? What is it? Is it
TGT?
TGT, yes, TGT. I don't think they're reporting. They're reporting tomorrow, but they're probably moving up on sympathy.
It's moving on sympathy with Walmart.
Right, with Walmart. So I would look at Walmart. Walmart's got
If
the
you
volume
remember,
today.
we spoke about last earnings with Walmart. When Walmart released their horrific earnings last time, Target got hit, and then actually it got hit in sympathy on their earnings and then popped once they came out with theirs because they actually executed well. So
yeah, they kind of built in some of that downside, and then they did better than we thought they were going to do. And I remember that, very clearly. So it was interesting to keep that in mind. But yeah, Target here, guys. I mean, they're moving on sympathy. If you really want to play something like this, Walmart is your guy today because they are moving very well. I actually like Walmart a lot today, which is usually not something we put together. Walmart and good trading on it. So that's looking nice this morning. Anything else up here? Hood and Amazon. Amazon we looked at. I love the daily on the breakout. Our trader independiente, Spanish for sure. And then let's look at Hood. Oh no, Hood. Man, this stock is just, look at the volume, look at the pre-market action. Not looking great this morning, guys. All right, let's stop here, guys. Slim pickings. It'll get better as things get moving along here. We'll see what else pops up. And we haven't looked at our favorites yet. AMD, Apple, NVIDIA. We'll look at those usual suspects when we come back after checking out our events for our community at this moment. So let's go there. You can always check them on your own as well over our webinars. Click on that on top of the home page, and then this will take you to what's happening for the next 2 weeks.
That is right. Click that webinars button. You'll see every Monday we've got onboarding and technology with Carlos. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern. So check that out. It is available for all membership categories. So if you're a new member or just testing it out with the trial membership, go check that out and get started the right way. Then tonight, Peter talking about how to trade the lightning bolt pattern, his ever so famous lightning bolt pattern. 8 p.m. Eastern. Check that out. Great VWAP strategy he's come up with. Next week, Andrew, 8 p.m., will be talking about the art of trade management. Then tomorrow, Wednesdays, we devote to psychology. And so we have Dr. Randy Howell tomorrow talking about unlocking the hidden potential of your trading mind. He is a great trading psychologist and will lay out some great info there. Then Mike, next week, creating psychology journal. Thursdays for mentorship, John at 11 a.m., Ed at 4, Thor at 8. Don't forget about stocktradingsimulator.com, our free web-based replay simulator. He sounds we're having too much fun this morning, guys. Go to stocktradingsimulator.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to practice honing your strategies. And then if you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the room, you'd like to give it a shot, you can use the promo code PreMarket24 to get a discount off the intro membership. That is a one-time, non-recurring payment. And you get a discount. You get it for $24 instead of $39. 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room before it cancels. And if you would like to become an elite member, you can get 50% off. Promo code READ50. That also includes a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed. Lizzie Gladiators asking short float 42% on BBBY. Technically, it's larger than that. It's even 102 is what TI has, 103%. That is the percentage of shares out that are in the float, open to trade, that are held short overnight as of that would have been the last trading day of July, because they report twice a month. It's on the 15th and the last trading day. It takes quite a while for that info to come out. So the latest data we would have would be from the last trading day of July. You're on mute, brother.
A lot has happened since then, so I suspect that number is a little bit lower if you see this this squeeze here. So keep that in mind. I think it's still high because people love to short BBBY. They have for a very long time, but it's definitely probably not that high. Okay, let's get to it. Let's look at our usual suspects. AMD. We'll look at Apple. We'll look at NVIDIA. AMD this morning. Let's see what's going on there. AMD. Let's see here. So AMD at the moment we are pretty much flat. No volume right now. Again, daily's just kind of waiting to see what's next. Again, we did talk about this week being a little bit flat as far as movement compared to what we had in the last couple of weeks, months, really. July or the entire July, we had an incredible run here. Just look at the move we had. And before that, in June, we also had good movement, not towards the upside, but we also had an amazing movement. We're kind of moving into a sideways area right now. The way things are looking as far as the daily goes. So AMD right now, not showing a whole lot. Still a good stock to keep an eye on. I mean, we can always expect this to get volume, and hopefully, if the market trends in any direction, we can take advantage of that. Same thing with Apple. Apple looking a little bit better though, because they do have volume this morning, 861,000. That's amazing volume for this stock on a day like today. So definitely like Apple as one to keep an eye on this morning. Guys, and keep in mind, you got to be patient throughout this process, throughout this week, until we get back into a more high volume days, right? And notice yesterday what happened. A lot of stocks, their first hour and a half did nothing, right? So this is the hardest part about being one of the hardest part about being a trader is sitting through this crap here, right? And not touching that hotkey and not getting in just because you've been sitting in an hour and a half and haven't taken a trade and you feel like, what am I doing, right? especially if you're a new trader, your hands are itchy. You want to get in and get out and do something, right? You want to be a trader. To be a trader, sometimes we feel we have to hit the button, and that's not the case. You sit through this, you sit and wait, set up your strategy, shows up, break of high of day here, and you can see how beautiful that takes place here. If you get stopped out here, okay, I get it, right? It looks like it's going to break. I understand. You get stopped out here, great. I get it. It looks like it's going to break out. It doesn't happen. Third time, you get it, right? But if you're stopping out here because you want to go short, then go long, stopped out here, then stopping out here because you want to go short. Now that's 4 stops in one ticker in an hour and a half. That's no good. That's not what you want to do. So just sit on your setup, wait for it to come. And then you can see here, you can take advantage. You will get rewarded if you're patient, right? Not always going to work, but you're not going to have, 4 stops where you're just fishing to try to hit anything and you're not getting the reward for it. So again, just be patient is very important. I'll give you another example. We had an AMD, same thing. Look how choppy this is, back and forth, back and forth. Eventually you get a breakout, not the cleanest breakout. I wouldn't trade this here, so far like that from the VWAP. So again, it's just a tough trade, but same thing, very choppy. That first hour and a half, first 2 hours, just nothing happening there. Amazon, same thing. You do get a run later on. So this happened all across the board yesterday. Even on BBBY, you could tell that you had the initial drop and then did nothing for some time here. And to the end of the day, you finally got a nice little run there. So again, being patient, guys, cannot stress that enough. So Apple is good. AMD is good. Let's take a look at NVIDIA this morning. See what's happening there. NVIDIA right now, pretty quiet. No, nothing exciting. Daily looks awesome though, right? You got the daily going up against this one. What is this? 190. Again, one more test of 190 here again after a nice gap down over a span of 2-3 days there. So that's very, very interesting the way that is setting up. We just need a little bit more juice to get going above that 190 area. And obviously, clearly, here's where we have some resistance around this area. That was the last time we were here. We could not get above that. We did drop down from those levels. So we're back at it again. Let's see if we can get the juice to get going again. Might not happen this week. We'll have to see. All right, with that said, what's going on with Meg L? I have Meg L as, did I put that as a risky one or no? No, oh, this is one that's just insane. I don't know what's going on with it. I mean, it's just all over the place. 5.1 million shares traded. This thing was trading at 200 and something. At one point came back down here to $20, $19, $6. Came back down to $6. And now we're 7 something. Now we're back up at 21. So it is active. It is in play. You just have to know how to trade this thing, right? Be very, very careful. You don't want to be caught on the wrong side of this, and you don't want to be building discipline trading this stock, right? If you're disciplined, you got to be honest with yourself in this business. If your discipline is not where it needs to be, this is not a stock you want to trade because it will make you pay big time, right? So just be mindful, be honest with yourself, understand what stage of trading you are in, and this is a risky stock. You do not want to trade this if you're at the beginning stage of trading, or if you're going through a phase where your discipline is not where it needs to be. I don't think it's a low float. Is it a low float? I don't think it is. I think it's oh, it is a low flow on top of it. Yeah, 7.4 million. Yeah, 7.4. So yeah, low flow, very low flow stock here. Extra cautious on that one. This thing, I agree. Low flow stock, recent IPO. The fact that it opened up, I don't know what the IPO price was, but it opened up around $50. I doubted the IPO was $50. Probably was less. And this thing shot up to 230. I mean, it's just madness, guys. I mean, yes, would it be nice to take, a couple of 500 shares and write this up to about 150, 175? Absolutely. I'll take the rest of the year off. But yeah, come on. You gotta be very careful for something like this. All right, let's and one more thing to add. The thing about this is it's all about timing, right? Let's say you take 500 shares, right? And you want to get up here. Timing is everything. The pullbacks, even though you're right? You go long here, you are right in the setup and you're good to go. The pullbacks might stop you out. The pullbacks might get you into trouble before it actually goes your direction, because when you have a stock like this, it moves very wild. You're moving through $20, $30 so easily that the pullbacks might get you out of it, right? So yes, it sounds easy to take 500 shares and see what happens. It's never that simple. All right, so careful on that. All right, guys, my list is very light this morning. Walmart, BBBY, Amazon, AMD, and Apple. Secondary list, we have Mara, HD, which has earnings, but definitely Walmart is the one to look at. Snap reported some good numbers. I think Snap could be a good one to move up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have room for Snap. I think Snap, they reported hitting I think 1 million premium users, so that's good news for them. They got the volume 1.2, and they're getting a little bit of a bounce here as well. So they're right in the middle of this gap down they had a few weeks ago in July, end of July here. And yeah, we're kind of right a little bit below the middle of that gap. So that could be interesting there. See if we want to reach some of these levels towards the top. So yeah, Snap is looking decent. Okay, let's go here, guys. Let's get some levels in place. So we're going to start with Walmart, high of the pre-market, which again, one of my favorite stocks today. Not that we have many. 138.74 is good for us there. Let's go to the left, and we are in the middle of this drop that happened here on Walmart back in what's it? This is May. I believe it was May. 137.40. Above this, we do have 146.30. There's going to be some stuff in between here that we could look at as well. If we go more to the left, there's going to be some areas there. You can see here, this whole area, you have a lot of support and resistance, right? We have the high and low there, but that whole area, you have a lot going on through there. Towards the top of that, we do have in this midpoint right here, it's a good one, 141.66, area of resistance, right around here, that becomes support. And then look at this beautiful run. And obviously, you're going to have resistance on the next area where we marked here 146 right there. You got the resistance happening there on the daily. 4 days couldn't get above that. Eventually, one more try and you get the breakout. So I expect that to be a good level. If we're going to run up there, so that's far out. 141 is doable. 146, I mean, they'll have to have a heck of a day to be up 4.3 now and get to 146. But 141 and others are pretty close. Those are definitely some reasonable targets if Walmart's going to be strong and continue like this. Here's BBBY at the moment. Again, we do not have shares for sure, or we have very little. I think it's like 300,000. That's not going to be there by the time this thing opens up. So it's always been a stock to play to the long side. So you kind of handicap a little bit here. 15 is the low of the pre-market, a little bit lower right over here. And then the high of the pre-market sitting right at the or slightly above the previous day close. But keep in mind the previous day close is right on here. That's going to be an important level right at 16. Once we zoom out, big picture on the daily, I mean, you are set as far as levels, highs and lows from the last two trading days, doing a pretty good job. I don't think you need to add anything else. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon has a great daily. I just don't think they're going to break out today because they've been trying for quite some time here. And we had better market days, better trending market days than today. And they have not been able to do it. For example, look at this would have been Friday, I believe, and this would have been yesterday. And those were pretty good days, and they were not able to break out. Even on a day where we gapped down, or we gapped up pretty significantly on the 10th of August. If we go to Amazon now, right, let's go to Amazon. On the 10th of August, they gapped up, but still not able to break out from this 146 level. So I don't think today is going to be the day. If they have not been able to do it when the market's been pushing higher, unless they get any news, I don't think today's the day. But 144.50 is an area where they're really trying to break out of. We're going to test it one more time. Looks like here in the pre-market, the volume is great. We'll see. We'll see if they can prove me wrong, but I highly doubt, unless the market can get going, I don't think that we're going to see that breakout today. Here, 148.62, the next area of support and resistance across the board. A couple of days bouncing off of that. And then right over here, 153.53. Also another great area of support and resistance across the board there. Let's look towards the bottom now. We should have our highs and lows. Yeah, tons of support here. Obviously, we've been kind of building this range here, kind of stuck in it. Tons of support below the price action, 142, 140. You got plenty there. Your highs and lows are marking that for you. Let's take a look at AMD, our good buddy, also kind of seeing a little bit of resistance, just kind of wrapping itself around the previous day close at the moment. Started down, went green, back down, green, and back down again. Might go green again. Just kind of wrapping itself around this 101. So again, not a whole lot going on right now, but we know they're going to get the volume. Are they going to trend today? Here is, as far as levels, I don't think you need to add anything. Just low of the pre-market. We're going to add low of the pre-market at 155, and you are set there. All good to go. All right, here's Apple, guys. Another one that's kind of stuck a little bit there. Out of all the dailies that we looked at, AMD, Amazon, this is probably the best one. Although it hasn't been all that great intraday trading, especially the first 2 hours or so, the last couple of days, it still manages to kind of break a new high here from the recent days. So again, just the run on this thing, incredible. So looking good pre-market, 900,000 shares traded. Good activity right now, down slightly, not by much. 172, I'm going to mark this level here, 172.55. Your low is all the way at 172, but I think this one here is going to be more significant, especially with the price action being so close to it now. As far as levels, you look at outside of the big picture, you have your highs and lows of the last 2 trading days on the outside of that. I want to level towards the top in case for some reason we decide to break out today. Let's get something above the high of the pre-market. And it looks like this is going to be the best one. You got a lot of touches across the board there, around 174.47. That is very good there. Okay, take a look at Snap. Snap again, reporting some good membership numbers on their premium package. We have 1260. 63 is a good area there. Not your high of your pre-market, since that is all the way out at 1288. So you definitely want to mark those both on there. Towards the bottom low of the pre-market, we do have 1203. We'll slam a level there. And then towards the top, let's get something above this 1288 in case we do decide to run. You know, Snap can get the volume. They're sitting at 1.3. So their volume has picked up quite a bit since we first looked at them. So they're doing pretty good there. 1325, a good area on the daily. Not the best level, but again, you do have some touches on here on the daily. So that could be a spot where we might use as a target if this thing does go long here. All right, that is what we have, guys. Take a look at Mara. Not doing a whole lot right now. HD. Walmart's looking much better. Lee was great yesterday. Had a good day yesterday. Pre-market's okay today. Again, their daily's just so bad. I don't know if we're going to get any type of continuation. You saw yesterday we got a little bit of higher volume than we have had in the last couple of days. So that caused some really good trading there. I don't know if we're going to see that. We might just be back down to 8 million or less, and that's not really great. SE is one that we're going to keep a close eye on. This might be one that gets going today. As Nor mentioned, they have some news going on here. FRZA, guys, really low flow, risky stock. Be careful. And we also have TGL, which popped up pretty good this morning up to $10, right back down. So not much going on right now. This might be dead. Might not be worth watching now. If it just continues to kind of hang out here, might not be a good one at all. Matter of fact, I don't like it. Let's get rid of it. And there we go. That's out of the way. Okay, excellent. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup, which our moderators list, I only have Eamon. Kind of tells you what kind of day it is. It's not a whole lot that looks good. Only Eamon has his list out. And let's go ahead and cut the video, bring this over so you guys can see what's going on there. We'll wait for some of the moderators to throw out what they like. Again, it's not a whole lot that looks great today. This is definitely not a good list, but we will find something to trade. We definitely will. As I'm doing this, guys, please hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. What are our likes like? What are we sitting on? Let's take a look. Let me go over here. I have not looked at that this morning. So if we take a look, 154. So a little bit on the low side, 163. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. If we could push those numbers a little bit higher, that would be greatly appreciated. We have 460 viewers and probably 20 bots or whatever, but we'll appreciate that. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. You just went over and gave a like. Thank you, Chris MC. Appreciate that. Okay, Eamon, potential longs, Apple, Neo, potential shorts, A-Firm, Mara, Jared is looking at Walmart, BBBY, Snap, secondary list, Rock, Hammer, Paper, Scissors, Shoot. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. Susan, watch list, QQQs and Oxy, secondary list, Apple, AMD, and SPY. Just kind of see if those can actually get going. Again, they're not looking great, but they're always good to watch because they can get the volume. And if the market decides to trend in one direction, we can move very, very quickly. Megan, SQ, JD, and PayPal. So Megan will be looking at those there. And what else do we have? And I think that's pretty much it. We'll wait for Brian to log in and get going, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Again, guys, we can't stress enough. I mean, Norm tells you all the time. I'll tell you all the time. Be patient today. We tell you about these days where the volume is just not there. Just take it easy. Take it easy today. Wait for your setup. All right, I think we are all set here. Thank you, guys. 206 likes. I appreciate that very much. 250 is our minimum. So if we can get a couple of more in there, we'll be very, very, very happy. Any questions? Well, I mean, we're out of time, so we actually don't have time for questions. So how will you guarantee all shorts are done? I'm not sure what the question is, Dan. Not sure what that question is in regards to shorts, but if we don't answer today, do it tomorrow, and then we can get to it tomorrow. Guys, have an amazing trading day. Be patient, wait for the setup. Oh, here it is. Brian held overnight mega. So here it is. Brian's list today. Yeah. So mega overnight hold. He's looking at BE, BABA, BB, BY this morning. Again, very tight list, guys, across the board. So can't tell you what kind of day it's going to be. All right. With that said, guys, have a great trading day. Today we have closing bell at 3:30, and we do have Peter with lightning bolt at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So don't miss out on those. They will be recorded if you can make it, but we'd love to see you there in chat, guys. Have a great trading day. We'll see you later.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.